Greetings, beautiful people. Welcome to the channel again. My name is Serenity, and I am the content creator for Faith and Serenity. And again, if you haven't checked out the channel, please feel free to take a look at a number of our different videos. Again, you're talking to Serenity and not my avatar, but feel free to check out our videos and some of our mindful moments and get to know us. I will be posting continuously to talk to you a little bit about our lead artist and my son, Artistic 1010. His information and Instagram is available. He is on various platforms showcasing his artwork. But this is a channel dedicated to not only our journey and some of the things that we've been through collectively, but how we feel inspired and encouraged by the word of the Lord every single day. There is nothing that you cannot get through. There's nothing that you cannot do if you put your trust and your focus on the Lord. I mean, and that's real. I am not a saint. I am just like many of you. I go through a number of challenges. Some mornings I don't want to get up. I want to enjoy being cozy and cuddled up in my bed. But with the world and all the things that are happening, especially all the things that have happened to the federal workforce, to our policies, to some of the things that have happened across government, there's been a lot of life changes. And everyone, has been impacted, whether it's through your finances, whether it's through your health, whether it's through, your family and situations or conditions. You have been impacted. Now, for me personally, me and my son, and actually all of my children, I have a tribe of six. I am a happy, 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 happy mom. My children have been a continual blessing in my life. But to share a little bit about me so you guys get to know Faith and Serenity in the channel. There have been a number of life changes in 2025 that brought about. I've served in a federal career for over 34 years of service, exceptional service. To my customers, I've always had a commitment to serve. And as a director leading a number of various programs, a lot of us were impacted by what happened and were either forced to retire or, we were ripped out of our positions. And the reality of retirement, especially to those that are probably still young, or it was so unexpected, you didn't have time to prepare. Life hit you and it hit you hard. And so it was almost like, you took time out and you needed to actually grieve, what happened. Not only those changes happened, but prior to that, for Faith and Serenity, there were a lot of medical issues, for myself and my son, that included strokes and a number of surgeries, and it impacted our lives. And so within that, that's when your faith is its strongest. You know, we've always been, very mindful of our relationship with the Lord, but going through those seasons, when I tell you, you don't know what you can do until you are in it. In the midst of the storm, in the midst of those changes that happened, you know, you find resilience. You find the strength to move forward, and then you encourage and motivate each other. So, between my children and my parents and my family as a collective, we motivated and we kept each other going. You got to spread joy where you can, no matter what's going on in your life. And so within those challenges, we started having our own conversations and, spending more time in the word and looking at scripture differently. Like, I've spent time reading the Bible, but this time it was different because the season and the transition that I was in, it was so impactful to where I was going and where I was headed that I looked at scripture differently. Like it set with me differently, if you can understand that. And I told myself, I started, I always journal, I always wrote. I still have all my diaries from when I was young and a little girl. So I don't want my kids to see it, but I still have it as a teenager. And you find yourself reflecting on things you could have done differently, if you had the time. Now you ain't got nothing but time. So I am speaking to retirees. I am speaking to those that are facing challenges and changes that are unexpected. I am speaking to those that are young, that are trying to figure out what's next, because we all are going through something. And the reality of it is can we be honest enough to talk about that? Can we talk about what is happening in our lives, how it's making us feel, and what those transitions, those seasons, what do they bring? Like, what is it bringing out of you? And what is it making you pay attention to? And everything that we're going through, you can take it back to the word. You can take it back to scripture, and you can take it back to the source. If you really want to understand, start praying for discernment. Start praying for clarity of purpose. This journey is something that we all individually are going on, but we can go through it together if we take the time to share in resources and information, and just to start, thought provoking, just talk about it. So that's a little bit of what I wanted to say, a little bit about us, so that you understand what this channel is about. I'm gonna spend, because I got the gift to gab. I'm gonna say my say, but I also want to be able to hear from you. I want to be able to get resources and information. Like we need to be able, in this climate, in this culture, what is happening in our world, we need to be able to tap into each other. And that's the reality of this. There's a number of things that are happening to all of us in real time. And we need to be able to count on one another and to be able to be a source of strength, motivation, and encouragement. So I'll leave you with that, but I'm going to pop back on, and there is more to share and to say. So I'll be doing short clips as I take time to think about, because there's so many different things. Like I said, this has been a culmination of a journey in my journals, things that I wanted to share, that I wanted to connect with others to see if they were going through some of the same challenges, if they were having some of those same private thoughts that we don't often talk about, we don't often share. And there is no shame in being genuine and being honest and speaking your piece. Like I say, Avatar Serenity says it, and I'm going to say it to you too. I may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I'm somebody's favorite mug. And that is the truth. Alrighty, until the next time, or until the next moment, I'll talk to you then. Have a blessed one and make it a great day.